Ladies and gentlemen, whether you like it or not.
Greetings, gentle viewers. We've passed the halfway mark of the series that made Left Behind look like a movie. This is Tribulation, Part 3 of the Apocalypse Quadrilogy.
Tribulation stars Gary Busey, Howie Mandel, and Margot Kidder, so I like to call it Crazy the Motion Picture. It's a serious contender for the best film of the set. Well, least worst film of the set. Like the others, it is a completely new star, but Helen Hanna and this woman return to play second fiddle again.
So, intro aside, are you ready for Tribulation? What the fuck was that?
Sorry, mistress. I was just installing the new atmospheric effects.
Do it later. And hurt the person who told you to do it. What? God! God! God!
I asked for that one. We open on trees, and the writer-producer's claiming it's their film instead of the director's. That's weird. Nice choice of font, by the way. Gothic, for those who've decided that Comic Sans is just too obvious. So it's nice that they got some diversity of ministries, always a good sign, and we see just enough of this tree to suspect that it's put up some of the funding for the film. Anyway, cut again to the tree and a teen is carving a note in its bark. She's got two boys with her and they're...
Oh, hurry up. Calvin looks like he's about to wet himself if we don't go soon. Yeah, hurry up. Calvin looks...
They're fucking precious. If you're supposed to want to drown precious things.
She's marking the tree so they know where to go if they're ever in the area and get separated. Why this requires her to carve the tree, I don't know. It must be so they can have an emotional scene here later on when it goes all Chekhov's big fucking tree on us. Also, if they're lost, then surely it would be easier to find their house, rather than a tree. In a forest, made up of trees. Thankfully, the kids seem to realize this is bullshit.
Yeah. Can we go now? Yeah, can we go now?
One more thing, guys. Give me your hands. Come on, give me. Dear God, please protect this tree and let it stand tall forever so that if any of us loses our way, we have someplace to go. Thank you. Amen.
Why not just ask God to stop people getting lost?
Looks like you took too long.
Oh, Calvin.
This is bad comedy.
Many years later, the teens become Margot Kidder and the boys become Gary Busey and this other guy who's so unfamous I don't even think he knows who he is. The ages are a bit weird because Gary Busey is clearly years older than Margot Kidder, and given some of the shit that's happened to her, that's an achievement.
So now the film is set in the present day.
But if you watch these films in order, then present day should be roughly the time the last film ended, which is about 3 months after the Rapture, or about 6 months after when this bit is set. Little bit of a nitpick, I know, but it's annoying, and they can't even make their pre-Rapture world look like it did in Apocalypse. Nothing even looks like it's been filmed through a cheap daytime TV camera. Now, because a family containing Busey and Kidder can't possibly be crazy enough, we also have Howie Mandel as Busey's wife's brother. He's supposed to be eccentric or insane or something, but instead comes across as a pretty shitty portrayal of an autistic guy. Or rather, it comes across as Howie Mandel playing Jeff Goldblum playing an autistic guy. Badly.
What does Genesis 11:6 say?
I think that's about the Tower of Babel. Why?
I think it might be important.
Jason, everything in here is important.
Not important enough to remember, though.
Now, before you can say Torchwood did this and it was just as stupid then, Howie Mandel destroys the table in an effort to describe a morphic field. Morphic fields suggest that if enough people do something, then suddenly everyone does it for no reason whatsoever. They're bullshit, but they're sciencey sounding bullshit, so they throw it in. Apparently, he's been reading the writings of Franco Macaluso, who's not the EU president, but president of something called the European Unity Project. So they can't even keep their bullshit in continuity with their own bullshit. But they don't really explain why an international politician is spending his time writing mystical pseudoscientific books instead of doing his job.
Although Obama did write a book.
Gary Busey's wife is best friends with Helen Hanna and works with her at WNN. So anytime we see the back of another blonde's head in Apocalypse, I'm just going to assume it's her. They talk about the big fucking news that a preacher said that the rapture will occur. Helen apparently hasn't been listening to her rapture-believing fundamentalist grandmother that she lives with because she's never heard of it before.
This guy people are going to suddenly vanish into thin air.
You mean their souls, right?
No, that's what I thought. No, this guy is talking about body and all. And, this is the best part, apparently every Christian believes it.
On behalf of all the Christians that I wouldn't let anyone near my compound because, you, Christians. No, not all Christians believe in the rapture.
Busey, Kidder and the other guy talk about what should be done with Howie Mandel. Busey and the other guy think he should see a doctor, and Kidder thinks he needs to find God. Because introducing someone who's apparently mentally ill to God has never gone wrong before.
There was this guy I met who liked to wear pancakes. I don't like to talk about it.
Of course, with him being Howie Mandel, I just suggest you make him sign something that says he'll never come anywhere near a camera again. But that's just me. Busey, being a cop, heads out to fight some crime.
It's crime fighting time.
President Franco Macaluso doesn't just have time to write books, but release videos of himself talking about morphic fields and his own brand of Ouija boards, which I believe are trademarked by Hasbro, so that's weird. Anyway, we fade to Roman Polanski's The Ninth Gate, where some guys are chanting at an evil model of Minas Tirith.
Now the war begins. Now our powers increase.
I think that's supposed to be the Tower of Babel.
If it is, that's a bit shit. Much shorter than the Burj Dubai. Anyway, the guys talk for a long time, informing God of their plans for the post-Rapture world, how they're going to defeat him by making everyone join them because God'll huff if there's no more humans to save, and they decide to use some of their evil mind control on an unsuspecting person.
Random guy! I choose you!
He beats the crap out of his wife's Bible, yells a lot, scares her, and when Gary Busey turns up, he yells the entire plan at him.
Franco Macaluso will win. We will beat him this time.
What are you talking about? Beat who?
God.
Rule 1 of keeping your evil possession plans a secret. Don't tell a cop!
But right now, I want your hands behind your back.
Rule 2 of keeping your evil possession plans a secret. Don't use telekinesis in front of a cop!
Take it easy. Don't hurt her.
Let's terminate.
At least they didn't break Rule 3 of keeping your evil possession plan a secret. Don't show your penis to a cop.
I've been on the force 20 years and I've never seen anything like this.
Indeed, when the guy landed in toxic waste, caught fire, moved to New Jersey and started fighting crime, that was amazing.
That knife was 20 feet away from him. It was unreachable. I looked at the table where the knife was. I looked around the room. Looked back at him. The knife is in his hand without him moving.
I'd personally remind him that he's Gary Busey, so seeing all that is part of the course for before lunch. Here we get introduced to not Michael Ironside's replacement for this film, not Anton LaVey. Even though this is a flashback and it could easily have been him, apparently not Michael Ironside is just too subtle for this film. He stands there and watches, doing ominous, villainy things while Gary Busey gets called home. Howie Mandel threw himself out of a window the same instant the other guy did, so intrigue, this is some intrigue, this is some intrigue, I am intrigued. Not really.
It was like he was another person, like he was someone else.
Maybe the aliens finally got him.
Or the Mattel Toy Company. Apparently Mandel was screaming about killing Christians at the same time as the other guy. Clearly we're dealing with the mystical equivalent of a TV picking up a signal from another remote. Credit where it's due, Gary Busey is doing an okay job at playing a skeptical character that was, shock horror, written fairly well. This scene with Margot Kidder is a good example.
I know this religious stuff is important to you, but that doesn't mean it's the answer to everything. Jason has a very serious problem, and he needs a doctor, not a priest.
If you would just let one person finish one sentence once, you might learn something. And you might change, just a little.
Change? Change my what, Eileen? My life? My mind? If you could just sit down someday and listen to what you tell these people to believe.
No one else will find this funny but I do. In real life, Gary Busey's pretty loud about his Christianity and Margot Kidder's just as loud about her atheism. She didn't even realise this was a Christian movie until she almost finished filming, because she had no idea what the hell was going on.
And to this day, when Christians approach her about a performance in this in public, she goes all Alec Guinness versus Star Wars on them.
Now, like in all serious hospitals, Howie Mandel is tied down in such a way that he could easily escape, and later on gets haunted by a vision of not Anton LaVey. He's mentally projecting himself from the set of The Truth About Demons in order to explain everything to Howie Mandel. It was a test to make sure the morphic field the Antichrist is going to use after the Rapture is working correctly. I don't know why the Antichrist's Satan magic would need a field test, but okay. And as a side effect, it's done something interesting to Howie's brain.
This is a scan of the normal human brain. The green areas show the active brain cells. Normally you see 10 to 12% of the cerebral cortex active at any one time.
Wrong!
This is Jason's scan from when he first came here. We're talking 75% here. If I weren't seeing it for myself, I wouldn't believe it.
So having explained shit, not Anton LaVey uses magic to try and kill Howie, is interrupted by everyone who can't see him or feel him or have any sort of effect on his magic entering the room, and then just leaves. I guess killing the only non-Gary Busey-shaped guy who knew what the fuck just happened wasn't that important. Luckily, Margot Kidder and Busey's wife smuggle Howie Mandel out of the hospital before these guys arrive.
Where is he?
Who are you?
We're federal agents.
And that's a video club membership card.
These two guys are killing everyone who knows anything about what Howie Mandel was yelling about when he was possessed, including the driver of the ambulance who brought him to the hospital. But strangely, no one wants to kill Gary Busey, who heard the same shit from the actual guy they meant to possess.
And why are the Antichrist tireless wonders already killing people? The Rapture's months away!
Anyway, Gary Busey heads out, and because a drunk truck driver does their job better than these agents, his car is ploughed into and he ends up in a coma, where he wakes up 9 months later.
Gary Busey is Albus Dumbledore.
The truck driver wasn't actually drunk. The Antichrist guys just used their Satan magic to control Gary Busey's car into crashing into it. Which makes me wonder why no one thought to kill him while he was in the coma, and why no one shaved him or cut his hair. And where are the doctors? And if they're happy to try and kill Gary Busey via accident caused by Satan magic, then why did they use the agents at all? All using the agents does is increase the chances of getting caught. And in an unrelated question, how the fuck is he able to walk within seconds of waking up?
It's Gary Busey. Drugs are the answer to every question.
He meets another patient who's been spending his time pretending to be comatose in order to avoid having the VR headset from Revelation placed in his head. Fair enough, but then he asks this question.
Where you been? He's in the coma ward, in the bed opposite you. Where the fuck do you think he's been?
He tells Busey about the Rapture and how everyone who wears the VR helmet either ends up dead or turns evil, and his exposition job done, the Antichrist guys arrive and stick him with the helmet. Where we see that the Antichrist has been doing important work in the 3 months since Revelation. He grew a ponytail, and has progressively been getting even more obviously evil. Now this guy only had one arm, so while God won't cure amputees, the devil will. Make of that what you will.
Think about it, Evan. A world where anything you imagine will be yours.
Since they recast between Apocalypse and Revelation, Alistair sent them an audition tape in case they recast again.
Take my mark. And anything that you want, you can have.
Take my mark and everything that you want, you can have.
Then your powers will blossom forth like a wondrous rose.
Then your powers will blossom forth like a wondrous rose.
Tonight, the whole world will be mine.
Tonight, the world shall be mine.
No, you don't sound enough like a rattlesnake orgasming. Now, next!
Oh, fine, keep the fucking job. You told me there'd be tribbles.
We lied.
Busey finds his way into a room with a TV, shaves and cuts his hair, and the TV signal's interrupted by Helen Hannah's gang of peppy freedom fighters, including this guy from Revelation, and now with added Gary Busey's wife, who apparently has always been there. The rebels are as brilliant as ever and have visible crosses over their clothes. Busey keeps wandering around the hospital, maybe in a daze, or he might just be wondering why these scenes are constructed like there's been a zombie apocalypse. It's like the place was abandoned. His confusion isn't helped by this guy who's reenacting a scene from Akira. He gives some security the slip, and then not Anton LaVey shows off more of his Satan powers by closing doors on Busey, except for the last one, of course. For some reason, he can't just close that one, or explode Busey's head. Anyway, Busey gets away, and Notant on Levay sounds like a lion and punches a window. Busey then sees a guy getting helmeted, and you know, that sounded a lot less sexual when I wrote it.
Okay, fine. Blame the writer. Okay, fine. What? So, what do we do now?
Do I fucking look like I know? I don't even have a face!
I'm just staring at a camera. They want us to make them laugh and tell them about stupid movies. Mostly laugh.
Do a dance or something. Buy me some time. I'll think of something. Okay. He's put on the headset and, what rhymes with kazoo? Oh, fuck it. This'll do. Stop dancing. You're making me look like an idiot. So, hi. The guy, sees this guy getting out of the thing, and the bad guy gives him a speech. It's pretty crap. Check it out.
Miracles are taking place. Healings are happening. And once the last of the unbelievers are removed, then your powers will blossom forth like a wondrous rose.
Nice speech. I could see why so many people have fallen for your pack of lies.
I can't. This is ridiculous. Bring the writer back!
Oh! So Gary Busey watches as the guy chooses death, and we finally see what the legendary Mark of the Beast looks like. Like someone drew some 6s on the back of their hand.
I found a way to trick their system. Hail Satan! Maybe they're right.
Of course, in the last film we saw that it looked like a brand that appeared the second you took the mark in VR. Now it looks like it was drawn on with pen. Clearly the makers of this don't believe in evolution so much that they decided to show their villain's mystical mark actually devolving, even though that's not actually how evolution works. Anyway, Gary Busey heads into an alleyway to try and escape the evil brigade. They get themselves distracted by deciding to kill homeless people. Now, a sane person might take the opportunity to run for it, but Gary Busey decides to hide under some cardboard, even though they're pulling up crap to make sure no homeless people are hiding underneath it, so they can kill even more homeless people.
It's not like if they see you, they're gonna let you go because they're now into killing homeless people. If they see you, they're gonna kill you, you jackass!
Lucky for him, for no reason at all, they just decide to call off their search with about half of the alley searched. Later, Busey steals a guy's mobile phone to call his wife, but instead decides to call a friend of his in the police force and then chucks the phone away when he can't get a hold of him, even though he didn't actually call his wife, and he heads for home.
And punches his way in. Did you even check if the door was locked?
Anyway, the house is long abandoned in that has a dramatic bright light right outside the window sort of way, but the TV still works, and we find out that Jeff Fahey was executed last week. Apparently God couldn't be bothered saving him by miracle twice. Hi, I'm John Hagee, a pastor who clearly ignored Proverbs 23, 2 and 3. You may remember me from some other fine Rapture-related films, such as Left Behind, where I played myself being raptured. And no, I don't realize how sad that is. Helen Hannah's sending the footage of Hagee, along with footage that turned up in Apocalypse and Revelation. Apparently she has a very limited collection of Christian shit to show. Anyway, she gets captured because the bad guys with sci-fi technology and magic on their side have finally managed to track down her mobile TV studio. Back with Gary Busey, a friend of his, who might be the one he was phoning, walks into the house through an unlocked door.
Gary, check in future. And don't take it out on him that your hand is bleeding.
That night, Busey makes his way to his younger brother's house, where we discover that taking the mark means that you feel the need to deny the existence of your sister who played Lois Lane.
We don't have a sister, Tom.
We have a sister. Her name is Eileen.
And even makes you go as far as to doctor all your photos, Stalin style, so she's nowhere to be seen.
Who do you think this is?
It's you and me.
No, you and me and Eileen. Where's Eileen? What have you done to this picture?
That's just fucking bizarre.
So yeah, apart from Margot Kidder denial, Calvin is now evil, and Busey actually asks a question I've been wondering about for a while, and wishing someone would ask.
What about the 3 6s you got? Didn't that raise a red flag for you?
You do realize, mistress, that the earliest
earliest versions of the Bible actually state that the number of the beast was 616.
Shut the fuck up!
Shutting the fuck up?
No, the rest of the world just woke up, and Lucifer has come.
You know you're talking about Satan, the devil, bad guy.
No, he's not the bad guy, not even close. Lucifer is an angel who figured out God's secret, you see? We can all achieve godhood.
Is that a fuck you to the Mormons? Because random...
So thanks to God doing the miracle thing, Busey gets away from his brother, and sensing an upcoming Chekhov's big fucking tree moment, he heads for the forest from the start of the film.
Eileen, looks like God did protect your tree.
Is anyone up there?
I am.
Jason.
Hey, he wasn't one of the three. He wasn't there. He doesn't know anything about the tree. Bad movie. Bad, 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 bad. You're gonna make Chekhov's big fucking tree cry.
What happened here was a miracle, and I want you to fucking acknowledge it.
Mandel tells Busey about what's been going on, that his wife's working for Helen Hanna, etc., etc. And inside a room designed by clearly villainous interiors, they do good work, Hannah's been chained up like that. My guess is that it's so she can't say, "Get behind me, Satan," and not Anton LaVey. Can't save her from the helmet, though.
Prepare for enlightenment, Miss Hannah.
This is a typical scene. The Antichrist chews through layers of identical white scenery. Helen Hanna pretends that her day job is actually acting, and Busey and Howie talk about stuff. About how the Antichrist is controlling everyone, not through his magic hair gel, but through morphic fields. Which doesn't explain why the helmets are needed, why it's moral for God to damn mind-controlled people that he chooses not to help, and most importantly, why the shot in the White Room gets a weird green tint partway through.
But enough of that. Who wants to see a monologue by the world's worst Antichrist?
Revelation 13, and the whole world wondered after me, and they worshipped me, saying, "Who is like unto me?" And it was given unto me to make war on the saints and to conquer them.
Gordon Curry from Left Behind is... well, he doesn't know who you are. But if he did, he'd be laughing at you.
Now, finally, 3 films in, we get an explanation of why the Antichrist is doing all this shit, since he knows full well he can't win.
Everyone who takes my mark will be with me forever, because I want lots and lots of company in that eternal lake of fire.
That's actually pretty reasonable as Antichrist in bad movies go.
He doesn't want to kill God or anything silly like that. He just wants to drag the whole world down with him. Of course, if God just magically put him back in hell alone and let all the humans go to heaven, then literally everyone would win except for the devil. But God in this is a dick. A colossal dick, somewhere in the region of 800,000 Cheney's. I'm sorry for harping on about this sort of crap, but if this scene had been written by someone with an ounce of logic, the devil could have pointed out that God has the power to stop him and he just chooses not to. God in this is the guy more interested in the murderer's free will to kill than the victim's free will to not die. Helen Hanna even backs me up, sort of, in this totally out of context line.
Do you really think you're in control? Because you're not.
Anyway, she gets executed. Or does she? Well, sort of. Yes and no, but we'll talk about that in the next review. Busey's brother wakes up with a splitting headache and uses the helmet to talk to the cyber Antichrist. And for a guy who not only let not Michael Ironside live, but promoted him a fuckload after he colossally fucked up the end of Apocalypse, he takes Busey's escape pretty damn personally.
You see, you let the wrong one get away.
We cannot afford to have a lethal weapon cast member gap.
And you know what happens to those that stand in our way. Don't you, Calvin?
Eileen was right.
You are being tortured forever now.
So using his stealth little blue car, Busey makes his way up to a cabin in the woods that his wife owned, and because they clearly have the same hiding talent as the average cast member of Glee, the Christians have been hiding out there. Exactly where the bad guys would have checked, because they know Busey's wife is one of their leaders.
We need to hide from the Sandmen.
I had an idea.
It's amazing how they're checking every house but yours, isn't it?
That's because I'm amazing.
There's no point. That satellite is completely locked up. And without the password,
Nothing says top secret and high security like having Gary Busey walk right in.
So just when the film seems to have developed some sort of sense and has a guy working for the Antichrist arrive and point a gun at them,
I'm ready to die for God.
giving Busey time to convert and accept his place with the Christians and their well-deserved death for being so shit at security, they then reveal that...
I'm on your side.
How the fuck does someone infiltrate their organization without even drawing some sixes on their hand?
Look, folks, my name is Steve Jones. I'm really sorry to have had to do that to you, but I've got something extremely valuable, and I couldn't take the chance of Macaluso having one of his spies in here.
Go ahead.
He's brought with him footage of the meeting between the Antichrist and Hal and Hannah, and they're going to cut into a worldwide address to discredit him. Huh. 1, who the fuck recorded this footage? And 2, how the fuck was this footage recorded?
You have no idea what this battle is all about. Everyone who takes my mark...
This one's for you, Helen.
Forever. I want lots and lots of company in that lake of fire.
I didn't say that.
And apart from everything I've already mentioned and what's really fucking obvious, unless the mark of the beast can be removed, then all they have done is made an entire planet of people really bummed and possibly quite angry. Sure, they hated you before, but you've just given them a reason to do it. Think about it, an entire planet of people who know they have literally nothing to lose, out for revenge on the followers of the god who damned them.
Insert comment comparing them to a city whose citizens you want to insult right here.
They're at it again. They're at it again.
So the Antichrist yells at someone, I guess the camera crew is walking out or something.
Don't go away, come on. Come back. Come back. Come back. Come back!
We are experiencing technical difficulties.
And the heroes have won, I guess. And around the same time, Howie Mandel converted for some reason. And the bad guys just walked into a random cabin near the one where the Christians were holed up in and just started firing.
Those explosives were totally disguised as priests.
That's the end. We'll never see Gary Busey, his wife, or Howie Mandel again, but some of the cheaper actors will return in Part 4. Judgment! Along with some new, slightly famous actors whose careers are in the shitter. This is, frankly, probably the best film out of the 4, and probably the least stupid of the 4, and saying that is almost physically painful to say.
Actually, this was the best film out of the 4. Yeah, that was painful to say.
Okay, it's the least worst of the 4. Nowhere near as entertaining as Apocalypse, though, and I'll give it props for making Gary Busey seem mostly believable as a rational human being for most of the film. And for ending, eventually.
Next up is The Final Judgment. It's called Judgment and it's the final one, unless they make another. I'm Hagan, and I have to live with that every day.